While you can choose to open your images using Photoshop, many people prefer to manage their files using a separate application such as Adobe Bridge, Lightroom, or Lightroom Classic. In Photoshop, I can choose File and then Open, or click the Open button on the home screen. We can navigate to different folders and see the contents of those folders, but it's really quite limited. We can't see, for example, more than one folder at a time, we can't add metadata, and we can't add folders or move folders around. I'll go ahead and choose Cancel, and then File, and then Browse in Bridge. If you're not using Bridge to manage your images, then you can skip this video. Bridge is a separate application that you can download and install as part of your Creative Cloud subscription. One of the advantages of using Bridge is that it's a file browser, and it can display many different file types. So if we're working with a logo created in Illustrator or an InDesign document or audio files, even a Word document, we would be able to see all of those documents within Bridge. Here we can use the Folders panel in order to quickly navigate from one folder to another. Clicking on the folder displays the content so that we can view multiple images at one time. And if you go to specific folders often, you can choose File, and then add the folder to your favorites, and then click on the Favorites tab in order to quickly navigate to that folder. We can also move files by simply dragging and dropping them into another folder. And when we select an image in the content area, you can see it larger and even click in the preview area in order to zoom in to check focus. We can use these icons to create new folders as well as delete files. And across the bottom, we can change the thumbnail size of our images and use these icons in order to change the different views that Bridge has to offer. We can view and edit information about the image, including the metadata, and we can add keywords within Bridge. We can also use the Filter panel in order to quickly find images. We can create collections, and we can even export images directly from within Bridge. Now, in order to open this JPEG file, I'm simply going to double-click on it. And when I close the file, we see the home screen as we did before. If I want to quickly return to Bridge, we can use the File menu or use the keyboard shortcut Command-Option-O or Control-Alt-O on Windows. If you decide not to open a file from Bridge and you want to simply return to Photoshop, we can click on the boomerang icon in order to return to Photoshop. On Mac, you can also use the keyboard shortcut Command-Tab, or on Windows, it's Alt-Tab, to cycle through your open applications and then choose Bridge if it's already running. Now, if you're working with RAW files that have been captured with a digital camera in a RAW file format, then you can take advantage of the Camera Raw plugin when you open an image. This image of the tilted icebergs is a DNG file, which is a type of a RAW file. And if I double-click on it, it opens it up into Adobe Camera Raw. Here I'll make some quick edits. I'll select the Crop tool, and then I'll double-click on the Angle tool in order to automatically straighten this. I'll return to the Edit stack, and then choose Auto, and just raise the shadows a little bit more. Under the Color section, I'm going to change the white balance from As Shot to Cloudy. And then under Effects, I'm going to add a slight vignette just to darken down the edges a bit. And this is literally just the tip of the iceberg. Camera Raw includes many additional options, including making changes to specific colors and editing individual areas of an image using masking. We'll talk more in depth about the advantages of making non-destructive edits in Camera Raw, as well as specific features of Camera Raw later in this course. To see a quick before and after, I'll click on this icon. So there's before and there's after. When we're finished making our adjustments, we can click Open in order to open the file in Photoshop and continue working. For now, I'll simply choose File and then Save. I'm going to save it back into the same folder as a Photoshop document. I'll choose Save, and then use Command Option O in order to return to Bridge. That'd be Control-Alt-O on Windows. Here we can see the original raw file with the edits that have been changed, as well as the icons telling me which changes have been made, and we see our newly created Photoshop document. A little tip, you can also open JPEG and TIFF files into Camera Raw to use the same editing features. We would just select the image, and then instead of double-clicking, we would click on the Open in Camera Raw icon. While you won't have the benefits of the non-compressed raw data, you can still use Camera Raw's editing features to make changes to the JPEG or the TIFF file. For now, just know that if you work with several different file types, using a file browser like Adobe Bridge to manage our documents gives us a more visually rich and robust way to navigate and find the images that we want to open into Photoshop.